Okay, we're going to carry on with starting a business, and I think last time we talked about like having a USB, unique selling point, or unique product as such. And so I'm just going to go through certain things again, because I think it's very important to have a clear idea. You know what sort of business you want to do, and hopefully you've done the market research. Okay, so you don't want to be starting a gardening business when there are tons of gardening companies around you. Why would you want to do that? That's just not going to be very it's literally, you're flooding the market with even more of the same thing. So you want to have something that's different. Like, so for example, if you were going to do gardening and you find a lot of people are actually, are gardeners and they do landscaping and everything, maybe you could do a business that does gardening but different. So for example, you do like vegetable growing. So you do like a business plan that's very much to do with, like, for example, so you know exactly what, you get the garden, the earth ready, feed it. If it needs to be alkaline, you do all the processes. If it needs to be more acid, depending on what is going to be grown, then you'll sit down with the person who is going to be your customer, go through all the list of vegetables that they want to use, whether or not it's going to be organic, and what sort of care they need. Are they going to be good at looking after things? So maybe things that need a lot of watering, they could leave out, all that kind of stuff, and then you kind of design something that, okay, I come this time of the year because I need to put all the seeds in. I come in this time of the year because they need to be like, we need to harvest and put new stuff in. And you give them a budget, and you always should have like different kind of services. So it can be a very basic one. You have to suit different budgets and different pockets, really. So there we are. These are the things. So you're no longer competing with the gardeners, but you have actually got like a niche market that you're working towards. The other thing is as well, obviously, if you have a lot of gardeners in the area, but you still like gardening as such, you could just say to them that you could hire a van, or if you have a van or something, you can actually take their rubbish for them to the tip, to the recycling centre. Or if you have enough space, you can get the gardening waste from them. And obviously you need to see through and take all the weeds out, because obviously they don't want to have that, coming back again, like particularly something like, what was that? Bindweed. I think those are the weeds. They've got lovely shaped, sort of like heart-shaped leaves and white funnel-shaped flowers, but they're really awful weeds. They really grow very fast growing, and it's vast, the area they can cover in no time. So yeah, so you'll have to like whiz your way through that, and maybe you can actually start producing. So they are giving you the material. The material is not really costing you a lot of money. All the sort of like grass cutting, all the leaves, all the plants, dead plants and stuff like that. And you can actually also collect people's like vegetable peels, and not meat, because you want to keep it organic. And then, not organic, you don't want to have like issues with meat and everything when things go, and just, I don't know, it's up to you anyway. It's none of my business, this part of it. And just maybe you can do some compost. You can have a composting business, which is not really costing you a lot of money, because actually you're collecting people's waste. So that would be great. So that could be another job. I think it's always good to try and start a business which is just slightly outside the box. So you're still keeping your own job going, but you can actually still do this alongside your job as well. I think it's very, very important in this day and age to be very resilient. And I think vegetable growing will be a really good way going forward, because just people always need to eat, and nothing better than growing something on the land that you own. And so the next things will be like, you want to also know about, like, obviously the product that you want to do. or the service. Obviously, if it's a service, it's going to cost you less money. You need less money invested in it. You want to really start it as cheap as possible. Don't go and invest loads of money. Don't go and borrow money, because you don't want to start in negative figures. So you just want to just be aware. So whilst you're working, you can start buying things, little bits here and there. And whilst you're doing all your market research, maybe you're designing your Facebook page or YouTube channel or other platforms, you know, whatever you like to use. So you spend the time on that, and you just got to really watch the people who do really similar sort of business, or actually even different businesses, how they market. Marketing is everything. And I know, well, I'm not very good at things like that. Marketing, graphic design and all things like that, but I know there's all these different ways. I don't really particularly think you necessarily need to have a website when you first start. You know, that's something you can go on later on, but that would be pretty good. So you also, some of the things I wrote down, so obviously, and then you clearly find your product, find your market, most important things, and then do your market research about those things. Then you want to actually start checking out the competition and see what's going on. And you also want to just be true to yourself. So if you're a married man with children and a wife and a home, you've got to be realistic about how many hours a week you want to devote to that. Because if your family is going to start suffering because you're always at work, but that's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to have more losses in the long run. But if you have like somebody who can help you and you can exchange services or help each other out, then even better. Or you could be like, for example, so you could do like gardening and work with a friend, and maybe if he's quite good at sort of putting garden panels up, and you can both paint or something like that, you can offer other stuff as well in the gardening, such as putting patio slabs down or all that kind of garden services like that. You have to have a mission statement. So you've got to be true to yourself, and you've got to keep it going. You've got to be consistent. You must always be consistent. You must always communicate well with your audience, always. And I think sometimes it does you good if you actually, people know what you look like. So if you're doing garden services, you do a video for your channel and actually put down here, this is me, and this is what I'm going to be offering, and in this area. So if you could pass this on and give me, you know, any ideas about, you know, just talk to your audience and get them to just, this is I think one of the opportunities with all the difficult things that are going on in the world at the moment is that people are waking up to thinking that actually community-based stuff is so much better than like everything, trying to please everything all around the world. So just do what you can do in your area might be the way to go. But you need to have a really good communication system. You need to be consistent, and you need to put the effort in. That is where the effort needs to be going. And consider your age and, as I said, how many hours you're able to do. Consider location. If you're going to have premises, that's very, very important. And then if you're going to have like sell products, so you'll have like a USP, you'll have something which is definitely representative of you. And then you can also do other things that you know that they're going to be like bread and butter business to begin with. So these are like very basic stuff that everybody needs. I don't really know what that's going to be, but you know, just think about those kind of things. Like, and as you do any project, say for example, if you're doing gardening, take photographs at different stages, so you can actually like have this, be able to journal that, so you know, like this is the progress of this particular sort of commission. And that will be really good. And before you start any business, you must get your chart done. I think that's so crucial. So many really good ideas never take off. So you launch it. I think that's the best money you can spend. Or if you have an astrologer friend, you can exchange things. So make sure that your muhurta and your dasha that you're running are very supportive of this. Now, if you don't have a good chart for business, starting your own business, and your partner has, your wife or husband has, maybe you can actually do a partnership together. That might work really, really well. So those are the things that are really worth bearing in mind. I think also it's, I'm going to stick to the gardening thing. It just came to my head that I wasn't planning to say that. Really good to have very good photographs done as do you doing your job. Make sure if you're working with a friend or your partner, you have regular photographs of both of you doing the work, or putting messages out, communicating about, like, if the weather is so and so, be, give them little tips in your videos, like, for example, right now it's just too dry for this, and you can keep it cool like this, or whatever, or these bugs, or this is a really good organic insecticide. Beautiful things like that, and always trying to leave everything very presentable, very, people like things that are aesthetically pleasing to their eyes. So, make sure you do that. Beautiful photographs of, even a potato plant, when it starts blooming and it gets flowers, it just looks pretty. So it's quite nice to actually do that. Let them see the beauty in everything. If you're doing gardening panels, show before, progress in the middle, and the end result, so people have some sort of reference point there. The other things that I wanted to talk about today is like something called brand. So you want to literally be so consistent and do such a good job of everything you do that eventually people you become the brand's thing as well. So when they think about certain service, they just naturally, because they've seen, like, either they've seen you working, and when you work in somewhere, it's a really good idea to actually like display a little sign outside to say that you're working on that area. Obviously you need to ask permission of people whose home it is, and just let them know that you are you're doing this, and as and when you go, like, to have refreshments in your, at whatever, talk to people, I don't really necessarily think nowadays you need to have business cards, because people have got phones and they've got like cameras on them, so they can very easily take photographs. So utilize all of those things. Talk to people like that. People like somebody who's personable. So eventually with people seeing you, seeing what you're doing and everything, and even on your side you can start putting like end of project photographs, so people can actually relate to that, and ask the people that you do projects on for them if they're okay with people coming and having a look as well. This is all very good, because then you're able to give them a little bit of discount next time we do something else for them, or people are always happy to look after really nice, consistent work ladies, businesses, small businesses. They're always happy to help. So why not tap into that? So I think that is a very important thing. So you have a USP, and you have like a brand. You create a brand name for yourself. So you become your own brand, for example. So if they know that, for example, where I used to have my clinic, laser clinic, everybody knew that we did a lot of things, but we did specialize in laser. That was our thing. That was like, although in no time at all in other towns around us, people started to have laser machine, but we were the most established one. But also because we treated everybody very differently. So everybody who used to go to other places because, say, I don't know, because more convenient or whatever, they would come back to us and say that the way we did our consultations, the way we did our checking with them if they understood everything, we did a patch test, we didn't charge for any of the consultation at all, or the patch test. We asked them to go away, think about it, and only when they feel ready, they feel free to book in. There was never ever any pressure. We were very clear about prices, very clear about results. We never sold them the world and gave them nothing. We were really honest with everything. And so that's very important. That's like, you want to establish your own very unique thing. So after a while, that my name became like I was the laser lady. Even though I did all this other stuff, I was still the laser lady. And I still, even though I'm retired from that, I still get texts and messages or emails for people to say, would you consider restarting again, or would you recommend anybody in the area, even though I don't even live in the area anymore. That was 4 years ago. So that is very, very important. So it's good too, because that became our brand. That was my brand. That was what I specialized in, even though that wasn't necessarily what I trained in to begin with, but that's where it led me, and that was my unique selling point. I offered other stuff as well, but that was my thing. The other stuff to begin with was my bread and butter, but after a while things changed. So that's important to know. So when you want to, obviously branding will be something that we will talk about later on, because there's different things to do, but it's really important to be motivated, and actually, however tired you are, you don't want to, if you're talking to somebody and they are going to be your public eventually, or even if they're not, they might become, you need to have that face on in public that is always, is always there for them. So you have to just appreciate that, so even if you just like, you're feeling tired, just say excuse, or you look scruffy, or because you've been working and sweating or whatever, just want to say, excuse my attire, I'm not always like this, I'm really sorry, I'm a bit tired because of everything, but how can I help? Is there anything I can help you with? Give them a number, reassure them that you'll get back to them as soon as it's physically possible for you. And just have that very easygoing, easy flow relationship with your clients. So important. Relationships are everything. It really is. And as I said, launch it, build really good rapport with everyone, build good rapport with your community. So that's and communicate well. Communication, people over communicate sometimes on things that are not important, but to do with the business is really important. If you're running late for a project, you phone them and let them know that you're going to be late. If somebody else is going to go in instead of you, you phone them, let them know that that's going to be the situation. You always communicate, always return people's, even if you can't necessarily get back to somebody. Just send them a little text to say, I've received your message. I will contact you as soon as I have time. So always acknowledge phone calls and messages. So that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Thank you.